Indiana Fever just signed one of the WNBA's top free agents, and you guys, this changes everything. What's up, you guys? I'm Rachel DeMita, and welcome to the Courtside Club. The Indiana Fever just pulled one of the biggest moves yet in free agency. It was just announced this morning that the three-time WNBA champion Natasha Howard will sign with the Indiana Fever as a free agent. The former Defensive Player of the Year and two-time All-Star returns to the franchise that drafted her, bolstering the Fever's front court and bringing veteran experience. Now, we talked about it a little bit yesterday about how the Indiana Fever have been pretty quiet throughout free agency, except for bringing back the one and only Kelsey Mitchell that a lot of us were expecting and hoping for. But other than that, they hadn't really made that many big moves. There hadn't really been rumors or reports about what the Indiana Fever were doing. But obviously, they were working hard behind the scenes because they picked up one of the WNBA's top free agents. Now, before we go on to talk about Natasha Howard and how this changes up the league a little bit, I do want to show you guys a quick highlight reel of her. Ken Swift posted this on Twitter, so let's check out Natasha's skill set and what she will be bringing to the Fever. So as you guys can see here, she takes it to the basket with a nice little shimmy shake, turnaround jumper, skip pass to the corner, and hits the three. Now, she's not a three-point shooter necessarily, but she can hit open shots. And then as you can see here, she is running the court, which is something that the Indiana Fever have said that they wanted to, and it was a nice tip back there. So as you can see from just these few plays, it seems like she will fit in with the Indiana Fever offense. So one thing that the Fever want to do is they want to run. They want to make the game faster, and that is something that they are going to need with whatever post player they pick up or with the post players that they already have. They're going to need them to run the floor. She does that. She's able to hit open threes, which opens up the floor for the rest of her team. She also has good footwork and is able to get in there and crash the boards and help Aliyah Boston to secure those rebounds. So overall, just from this 30-second clip, you guys can get a taste of what her game is like. Now, one tweet that I thought was so interesting about this signing is what Rebecca Lobo had to say. So she said, "Howard is a great addition for the Indiana Fever. They are one strategic signing away from contending for a title this year. DeMita Bonner would be perfect there. Eager to see where she ends up." Now, we talked about that a little bit in yesterday's video, how Alyssa Thomas was traded from the Connecticut Sun to the Phoenix Mercury, and a lot of people are speculating that DeMita Bonner will follow her there. That is her wife, and that would be a good fit for her as well. Most everybody is saying that DeMita Bonner is not going to stay in Connecticut. She is going somewhere. Now, Rebecca Lobo, being somebody who is so tapped into the WNBA, been covering it for years, was a basketball player herself, for her to say DeMita Bonner would be perfect there, talking about the Indiana Fever. And I have to agree, like, this is another veteran player that would fit into the Indiana Fever system and also bring that veteran mindset, also knows how to win. Now, with that, it also made me think about the other player that is in Connecticut that we talked about yesterday in Marina Mabrey. I still think, maybe it's just a hunch, I could be totally wrong about this. Stephanie White, if you look closely at what she's doing, she is building a team around her, and a lot of these pieces that she is bringing in, the team that she is keeping around her at the Indiana Fever, are people that she has already worked with or already coached. Now, she had already coached Natasha Howard years back when she played in Indiana, and Coach Stephanie White was there as a coach. So she is familiar with her game. I'm sure that the two have stayed in touch over the years. She knows what Natasha Howard brings to the court. She knows what she's getting into by signing this certain player. There has to be somebody in Connecticut, is it DeMita Bonner, is it Marina Mabrey, who are still there that she says, you know what, this might be our missing piece of the puzzle for the Indiana Fever to where we could actually win a championship this season. So I still think that there's something brewing there. I think that Stephanie White, from what I've seen of her, from how I've heard her talk about this team, the excitement about it, she wants to win now. And I think that she is smart enough to know how to put those puzzle pieces together. And that is something with the Indiana Fever, we talked about it a lot yesterday. They want to win now. They are wasting no time with this opportunity with Caitlin Clark, with the amount of eyeballs that they have, with the sold out arenas, with the record breaking viewership on television. They know that they have a star in Caitlin Clark. They know that they have a core that is set, that went further than anyone expected them to last season. They want to win now. They're building a brand new practice facility to make sure that the players are taken care of. They want to win now. They want a championship this year. Like, this year wouldn't be soon enough for them. They want to win now. They are going to pull out all the stops to make that happen. Now, one other thing I wanted to bring up is I feel like with this signing of Natasha Howard, NaLyssa Smith is gone. It wouldn't make sense. I mean, NaLyssa Smith could stay for the Indiana Fever, but signing Natasha Howard, NaLyssa Smith's minutes just got cut significantly. And this is essentially the same position as NaLyssa Smith, but it's a better player and it's a veteran player. And also when it comes to drafting veterans, when you talk about a playoff run, this is just something that's very known in basketball. When you get to the playoffs, it is a different type of basketball. So that veteran presence when it comes to playoffs is really helpful. Like, you ask any NBA player, the playoffs are a completely different game. That's why you see teams like OKC last season, who had such a great season and wasn't even able to make it to the finals. They didn't have that veteran leadership, that veteran experience, the physicality that comes with playoff basketball. So if the WNBA is anything like that, having a couple vets to work alongside Caitlin Clark, to work alongside Aliyah Boston, to have that winning mindset is going to just be so clutch for them. And I do think that NaLyssa Smith's time in Indiana is probably up just from seeing this signing. I actually do think that NaLyssa Smith wanted to stay in Indiana, and I think that she would be crazy to not want to stay in Indiana. I feel like, and I've said it before, Indiana is that golden team. Like, if you are a free agent, if you have a spot on Indiana's roster, you better do whatever you possibly can to stay here, because you guys, they are running this franchise like the Boston Celtics, like the Chicago Bulls in the 90s. Like, they are buttoning things up. They want to be a winning franchise. They want the players to be taken care of. They're building a new practice facility. They got in a new coach immediately. They hired new trainers, all these things. Like, we have seen all the moving parts. They are not playing around. As a player, you should be doing whatever you possibly can to stay in this scenario, not only for the fact that you know that you're going to have the most eyeballs on you. You're going to be at the biggest stage that you possibly can be. And anybody who wants to compete knows that that's the best way to do it. You're going to be there, and you also have a chance to win soon because you have an organization behind you who is going to facilitate everything and make sure everything is mapped out accordingly. Now, one last thing that I wanted to mention, it's kind of off topic of the WNBA, but with Natasha Howard leaving Dallas, and we know that Satou Sabally also is leaving Dallas this season, it seems like there's a lot going on, unfortunately, in Dallas right now. And the big news surrounding Dallas has been that they are going to get the #1 pick in the WNBA draft. Now, the talk of the town has been that Paige Beckers is going to go #1 in that draft. And even though I don't think she's having the best season of her career, I still don't think that she's reached her full potential, and she hasn't truly been playing. She's been playing well, but not as aggressive as I would like to see her. She still is slotted for that #1 spot and presumably going to Dallas. There has also been a lot of chatter about her not wanting to go to Dallas, and a lot of people were even speculating when she was interviewed after they did the WNBA draw, where we knew that the pick would be going to Dallas and she would be going there. She didn't seem so enthused. A lot of people were saying like she probably would want to play in LA or somewhere else. With that, Sue Bird recently on her podcast kind of alluded to something. I'm just going to let you guys listen to it and then we can talk about it.
Trade, as reported by Kevin Pelton on ESPN, the 3-team trade fulfills Lloyd's trade request by sending her to the Las Vegas Aces to replace Plum, who will join the Los Angeles Sparks via sign and trade after the Aces used their core designation to take her out of free agency. Meanwhile, the Storm move up from number 9 to number 2 in April's draft, which could facilitate, this one gets a little tricky, but which could facilitate an offer to land the number 1 pick from the Dallas Wings if top prospect Paige Beckers of the UConn Huskies prefers not to play in Dallas. Those are Kevin Pelton's words, not mine. Those are Kevin Pelton's words, not mine.
That's an ambitious
We'll
thing.
leave that right
Paige
there.
would have to go back for her 50th year of college or threaten to do so, which I don't think anybody believes is going to happen.
We'll leave that right there.
At this point, I can't see Dallas being enticed by almost anything to give that up. But
well, I see a world, but we'll leave that right there.
Okay.
This is all technically not super duper official, sources say and all the good things, just because these players all have to sign come February 1st. To make it official.
Oh, like the official day that you can lock it.
I thought this was so interesting because Sue Bird also went to UConn. I'm sure she's close with Paige. And there have been so many rumblings about Paige just not wanting to be in Dallas. Now, would Seattle be a better spot for her? Is that somewhere that she would want to go? I don't know. I don't know Paige personally. But the fact that this continues to be brought up and the fact that they're talking about, again, this trade that we talked about yesterday, Kelsey Plum to the Sparks, Jewel Lloyd going from Seattle to the Aces, does that free up something where Dallas kind of gets in the mix and they flip-flop the order, number 1 and number 2 pick? That seems, to me, that actually seems wild. I have never heard of anything like that when it comes to the NBA. Like, could you imagine Victor Wembanyama being like, yeah, I don't want to play for the Spurs, like someone else is going to need to pick me? The Spurs would be like, no. Sir, excuse me, sir, you're coming to our team. So it's interesting. It's all very interesting. It would be, in my personal opinion, weird for Paige to go back for another year. She's already 23 at this point, and I think her possibly going back for another year at UConn would hurt her WNBA career in the long run. I do think it's time for her to get going on that professional level, but I just thought that this was interesting. And then seeing another big player leave Dallas, it doesn't seem like an ideal landing spot. So we will just have to see how all that shakes out, but I just wanted to share that with you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me know what you think about this new Indiana Fever signing. Are you excited for Natasha Howard to join the squad? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. Of course, thumbs up this video if you guys enjoyed it and click that little subscribe button because we upload new videos every single week. And with that, you guys, I'll see you next time. Uyena.